Hey guys, it's January 2nd and brand new year 2024. And medium Nancy Matz is coming on to talk about her predictions for the upcoming year. We'll be right back. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust, turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Hey everybody, how's it going? That thing cut me off. I gotta figure out why. My name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour, we hope. Yeah, we hope. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento, California. We're 45 strong up and down the state, which means if you have a paranormal need, we can help you out. We just might take a while because California is this huge state. In the case that we can't get out right away, we do have psychics on staff that can phone you, and if what you're dealing with is paranormal, they can calm things down until we can get out there, but we will definitely get out there. I'm still sick. It's been horrible. It's starting to morph into something else, and and to the point where it's more of a cold thing going on right now. But didn't sleep at all last night, and hopefully tonight I get to sleep. But here we are, and we're live, and it's an important show today because we're talking predictions. What's going to happen in the upcoming year? I'm going to mention something later on as we get going in this, especially when we get into politics, that I heard last night on the radio that I thought was really disturbing. I'm not going to say what show, but I just found it disturbing, and I'll kind of talk about that. But we are broadcasting live on Facebook. We are on Twitter, and we are on Twitch tonight. And if you're watching from Facebook and you like what you hear and you haven't done so already, please hit that follow button. We're always looking for followers. If you're watching from YouTube, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. There's more than 800 videos sitting over there on YouTube with all different shows. I don't always do paranormal topics, so I'm sure you'll find something that you like. So do hit that subscribe button. Also, between Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, if you're watching from those things and you like what you hear, leave us a thumbs up, leave us some smileys, leave us some hearts, and excuse me, leave us some comments in the chat room, because what that does is that moves us higher up in the FYP on all those systems. Sorry, and it attracts the attention of the main computer, which means they send us out to more places for people to see us. That being said, if you have anybody in the house that's like eating dinner and you want to bring them in to hear this show, bring them on in. The more the merrier. We're always looking for more followers. So help us out. Help us get those followers. You can find us on Facebook at California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team, California Haunts Radio, Sacramento Sears, California Haunts Ghostly Events. You can find us on TikTok under California Haunts. You can find us on Twitter under Cal Haunts. You can find us under Twitch at California Haunts, and you can find us over on Instagram as Ghosty Gal, all lowercase. All right, with that being said, let's bring in Nancy. We're going to be going over predictions this year, see what Nancy sees happening in the future, and once we hit like political stuff, I'm going to kind of talk about something that happened last night. Okay, here we go.
You can't start out saying, I wanted to say something later on. I'm going to be starting out talking about the world platform as far as wars and kind of a few things like that. So why don't you tell us what you
Okay.
You can't just say that. Sorry, then not.
This is what I heard last night. I got to show you something too, okay? My producer came over yesterday bearing gifts, and my guy's still back here. He's still dressed for Santa. I got to get him over that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He's still back there. However,
there
she got
he is.
me this.
Okay.
Yeah, she got me this. Let's see if I can aim this right. There he is. Check that out.
Oh gosh, that is so cute.
And he's getting ready to eat a frog. which is his
Okay, now you
favorite
got to
food.
tell the RSS people what you're looking at because they can't
Okay.
see it.
She got me a Grogu, which I have Grogu up behind me anyway, while helping me with the shows. He uses the Force to keep me awake and stuff. And yeah,
And what show is that, hon? For people
from the
who don't know.
Mandalorian, from the Star Wars
Okay,
Mandalorian.
this is the main character.
Yeah, and she got me a coffee cup, which I'm going to be using out here.
That is so cute.
Mm. And it's Grogu, and he's just about ready. He loves to eat frogs. So if you look really close on there, he's just about ready to eat a frog.
I love it. I love it.
So, huzzah. All right. Well, last night, I was listening to one of the other shows. I'm not going to say which one. And they were doing predictions.
Oh, okay.
And I found something alarming because when I went to high school, we had a class called American Government that we had to take before they allowed us to graduate. We had to pass it.
I remember. Yes, we had it too.
I don't know if they teach that anymore. And last night seemed kind of obvious. And I'm not going to say who it was. I don't know who said this, but they were talking about, and then I've heard this before, that something will happen to President Biden while he's running. That's one of the big predictions out there. And they're going to have to figure out who they're going to run for, who's going to run for president, whether it's going to be, it's going to be Vice President Harris or Governor Gavin Newsom. And the topic last night, when this person said this, and they were having a discussion, was that, well, with Biden out of the way, they're just going to throw Newsom out there and he'll just become president. It doesn't work that way.
No.
If it did, life would be, I'm not saying. If it did, I don't know what would happen. The way it works is something happens to President Biden, even if he's running for president. Kamala Harris is going to be your president. Okay, that's the way it works. There's a pecking order. Okay, now, because it's an election year, of course she'll have to pick a running mate and all that stuff. So I don't think I wouldn't foresee them finding someone to be her vice president, because she can pick and choose a vice president if that happens. Yeah. But if something happens to Kamala, behind Kamala is the Speaker of the House. Doesn't matter if the Speaker is a Republican or a Democrat. Whoever is the Speaker of the House is going to become president. So I was just kind of shocked when they said this. They're going to put Newsom right in there. So this is what I wanted to tell people. It's like, that's not what it is. That's not how it works. That's not how the system works. And I can remember that Constitution class and having to read the Constitution, having it pounded into me, and being graded on it, and learning all this stuff. And I don't know what's going on with education nowadays, where people maybe don't get that class anymore or what, but yeah.
I thought we had to memorize it. Was it 7th or 8th grade? I just we had to memorize it, and the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah. They even gave us tests on it. Such and such amendment.
I can still start 4 scores and 7 years ago. You can tell which one I had to repeat in front of the class.
Well, that was the thing. When 9/11 happened, that was my thought. And just like when this insurrection thing happened, Lincoln, I don't know if it was the Gettysburg Address because I'm too old now, I remember. But he actually had a speech where he talks about if there was going to be a unrest here or war, it would come from within. It would not come from,
I'm going to have to stretch my memory.
but
not even telling how long that was.
It would not come from an outside source. It would come from within. And during the insurrection, that's what I was thinking was that speech that he gave with that part of it. And then there's a thing about it where he was wrong. I don't know if he was wrong. I can't remember exactly how it went. Here I'm talking about it, knowing all this stuff. But about the enemy would, to make a step on the Blue Ridge and blah, 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 which is what happened with 9/11, essentially. The enemy came from, like, a place we didn't expect.
Within the United States, even though it was people from other places.
Yeah. So he was right for all that. Okay, I've said my piece. Just remember that, kids. The president, something happens to the president, even in election year, the vice president becomes president. Now, if they both get wiped out, no matter who else is running for president, The Speaker of the House is going to be president. Okay? Even if it's for 5 months. Speaker of the House. So.
Right. And I don't see Biden having to have to leave, at least for the first 3 years. He's very, people look at him and they shuffle his feet. Well, I shuffle my feet
I
sometimes
shuffle
too
my feet in the
because,
morning.
yes, I think everybody kind of has to be careful. And the last thing he wants to do is fall.
Yeah.
And I don't know I know what causes that. I was talking to the doc and they say the pads under people's feet thin out as we age. So there's a balance issue, no matter who it is.
Right.
When you hit a certain 75 or 76, people at that age group and more have a little more trouble with their feet. But he's on a Peloton more than an hour a day. Give the man a break. He feels so strong to me. If something comes up, if he needs a minor surgery, that could be what everybody's picking up, because she would have to pick up the pace. Now, it might have been about 7 or 8 years ago. I was talking to a client in Washington, D.C., and I was describing to her the woman president I do see coming. And, oh, fudge, when I remember, want to talk about the woman I see is of dark skin, dark hair, dark eyes. And what's so unusual about her is that she's very slim, wiry looking almost. And so that doesn't fit anybody on the platform yet.
No.
But who knows? And I do see her as very important in the future. And so the reason why people say, why do you do predictions? I like predictions. I do it every day. Every day I might talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And yet everybody's on the doom and gloom kind of a thing, including Nostradamus. He said World War III in the next year or two. I mean, please. I do see the Middle East war becoming bigger. But I also see people with, like, a bunch of people holding up big pieces of board or something, holding and pushing it back. So even though the inclination is want to get bigger, what I'm seeing is other nations saying, oh, hell no, push it back, push it back. And so someone's going to take control. And the same with the Ukraine. I think that, in my opinion, everything's always on my opinion, put my hands on Nancy, is Russia is using its last hurrah. I don't think they have the money. And there's so much there's so much in the country, people not wanting this war. He gets out and says how wonderful it is, but he's forgetting the fathers, the husbands, and the sons of these families are gone, and most of them are dead. And I don't think the country is going to survive. I get a turbulent feeling inside of overtaking. And so people say, oh, he's so sick, he's sick. He could be sick. Kidney issues, could be something else. He may be, if he has cancer, a lot of people live with cancer. I saw one day him leaving a room, and people know I'm very visual. Yes, he could die of a heart attack or stroke. Yes. But the day I'm picking this up, he's leaving the room, and this very thick military man, kind of an olive green, deep green, looking to me in my eye, taps on the shoulder and says, okay, that's enough. And he says that because he's afraid that Putin is going too far, almost on the verge of being mentally ill, kind of. And I can see that because he's wanting it so badly. His name and history be wiped out. In fact, he's hidden his family. That he wants them out of the country. What's that about? And I read this article about where's his daughters. I don't know. I didn't read more, but I found that curious that something would even be said about them. So is he hiding them? I'd be curious.
I'm sure that he's got taste testers too before he eats.
I wouldn't know that, but why not?
I bet he does.
I just feel like he's the last hurrah. There's a finality. When I was hearing about the drones being pushed over, what country are they from, please, right? And all the missiles, it's almost like, do we have anything else in the backyard? Let's check it out. That's the feeling I got. And then the other thing I got was a house in the midst of a forest with big trees all around it. And it's if there's 2 stories I can't see, I can just see one story made out of wood, kind of hidden away. Now, what's that about? And a lot of people say, well, there's duplicates of these guys. And they may bring out a puppet. They'll say, oh, the war's over. Let's negotiate and be done with it. And I do see that happening. Whether the Ukraine peoples have to give up some land. Other predictors have said yes. But this guy, this fellow who's running, you'd be awful hard pressed to want to give up an inch of this land. An
Hmm.
even inch. If he lets people pass, that's one thing. But I don't know if he wants to give up anything. Other countries may say you have to give up something. Why should I? I can hear him like, no. What are you talking about? So your negotiations could start, but I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Excuse me. Yes.
Um, I would like to mention that I think the hands of the peoples who want to ruin our democracy. And I heard something the other day, 5 or 6 countries are trying to get into our AI systems, trying to get us not to vote for this person, that person. Absolutely, that's there. But what I also pick up is the immigration issue. Where are
Hmm.
those people coming from? If you go back to the source, I think there's people from other countries, including Russia, going into areas and saying, I'd like to buy your land up, Mr. Mayor, and I'm going to give you a really good buy. All you have to
Hmm.
do is get your people off of it. And they're being pushed away. It's just too many people. When I saw the big crowd, I don't know, 20,000, I says, oh, someone's paying the administrators off on those lands. They're going. And I think
Hmm.
it's other countries to overwhelm us. And the war, Gaza war, I think was prompted by invisible people bringing stuff to them. As is to say, let's say we do the Ukraine and then we do the Gaza, and if we could get all two, three, 400,000 people in America, it's going to break their economy, and then that's
Hmm.
going to prove to the world that democracy doesn't work. I'm going to give a big caution. I do see that happening, and I'm also picking up another conflict in Asia. Like I'm not going to say Taiwan, but everybody's talking about South Korea and Taiwan. There's some kind of movement as I talk to you of somebody trying to move in and take over another quietly, but they're trying to start something up somewhere else. Really? Too many going on at once. That could be what we're seeing as World War, but not atomic bombs overtaking, ruining countries that have democracy. That's what I'm picking up. And 45 is right there. He's
Hmm.
shaking people's hands behind the scenes saying, if you get me in, I'll be your back pocket. And I do feel like he has sold paper to the Arab peoples. Absolutely. And I do see some kind of correspondence like a manila folder, and it has confidential something on it being passed over to Eastern European peoples.
Hmm.
I can just see it happening. It's almost like 2 or 3 hands pass paper. So the gentleman that we call the 45th, he's not clean. And I do feel like there's other places that people, it's almost like near a bathhouse, like a pool. There's a
Hmm.
pool area with a bathhouse or something. People need to look. Did they bury paper or something private with the wife? I can't answer that. And she's not around. I haven't talked to her. But I'm not sure I see it being dug up. But I am seeing separate buildings. And one of them has a wall made out of what called Travestine rock, kind of a look. And in that area, there's something else, something buried. And I see it near a pool. So where is that? I don't know. And people say you're real visual, but you don't put it on the map. Well, that's really hard, everybody. And that's what's hard because you don't want to be negative. But I am
Hmm.
seeing these things, and people asking, well, what about this? What about that? Next thing is someone told me, and I had a couple friends say, oh, tell about this, talk about that. I do see turbulent weather off and on, but we've had turbulent weather. It must have been 20 or 25 years ago. I was telling people, maybe 25, 30, that I saw peoples from the East Coast moving in and the West Coast moving in. I think I brought this up to Sharp how many years ago. And I do see that happening further. Now, is the ocean's going to melt really quick and flood everybody? No, it's going to take a little longer. It's going to take a little longer. About the time that starts happening, we're going to see cars that can lift into the air, take passengers back and forth. So
Hmm.
we're going to have more of that. Is that going to ruin our freeways and the roads and all that? I don't know, but we're going to find that if we move in a little bit, people are going to move from the peripherals of the United States in a little bit. That's the new hub of everything. How are they going to stop tornadoes from coming in? I'm listen. I can just tell you what's going to happen. I can't tell you how to stop that kind of a thing. Um, so the weather. I was talking to somebody, and all of a sudden I saw uh, a hurricane kind of a situation come up the Gulf of Florida, and it's going to touch east side of Florida, but also the mainland. Now, what kind of prediction am I going to say? Oh, everybody board up your house, but I did see some businesses, a white business, a tall, lanky man put wood up on the windows. I have to go for that. But is it a category 2 when it hits water or land, or is it 5? I can't tell that. And I do see one that Carolina's being hit by coming up, but that
Mhm.
happens every year. So when you get somebody say, "Oh, let's do predictions," let's let's hit you with the worst possible, right? We just had a 7.5 we did in Japan.
Mhm.
Thank goodness we're not having that. Oh, hello, 2011. I'll never forget that. How many people died? 240,000.
Mhm.
And then December 2004, we had 250,000. We're so lucky here. Just amazing to me. Excuse me. By the way, Shar, I also have caught the cold. Everybody's got it, so you can tell my throat is off too. So Friday night, both of us will be full. So I'm kind of like having trouble, like you. Um, uh, oh, this was an interesting thing I picked up after the election. I see people's moving out of the United States, and people's uh, maybe Texas might be one of the bigger ones, moving the monies out of the country. And I'm not going to say just England, I think it's elsewhere. So I feel big dollars leave the United States, and that also could hurt our economy. Someone needs to watch that. How do you do that? I haven't the foggiest idea. Um, the losing party, not necessarily president, pardon me. Um, there's also going to be 3 governorships that will change. I am picking that up. And I'm seeing some people leaving Congress. And one of them, 2 of them may go against their will. They may not want to. Oh, we have trouble here. Can't, I did win, but, it's going to follow the same suit.
Mhm.
Um, let's go to something more fun.
Something more cheery.
Huh?
Something more cheery.
More cheery. Listen to you and me. Well, we're not the only ones. My family has, there's 3 people
Eesh.
sick. And
Eesh.
we did get together, and they got sick before me. A friend got real sick real quick, and then it got over. So some of us are getting it quick and over, but like you, Char, hot towels on the chest tonight for sure. Um,
On and on and on
I
and
was
on and
watching
on.
I was watching TV, and Travis looked at his lady. We know who we're talking about, and he said to himself, "Who could be better than that? Who am I going to date that'd be better than this?" And his eyes just got big as saucers. And I think there's an engagement coming for sure. Whether she has a child or not, there is a soul with her. So there could be a child coming. Now that might interfere with traveling all around, but she has to make that choice. I cannot
Mhm.
say she will, but I do see him looking with saucers in his eyes. He's just seeing stars all around her. Because I mean, who would who would date Taylor and say no, she's not good enough for me? Right?
Right. Right.
Ultimately, is he going to be enough for her? That's the question. But I do feel like in their soul, she does want a child. Health breakthroughs. I see new skin coming out. I saw something with bones. I think it osteoporosis help. I don't know about this, but I saw people's bones, and I thought, well, what the fudge is that about? So I just have to say what I get. CRISPR, that new process that gives help to everybody. We've come out with something already that says, oh, cancer on the horizon is going to be treated like HIV is, or they're going to have some other kind of thing going on. I just think we're on the cusp of a really lot of great things. Not necessarily helping my generation, but Shar and everybody younger than her. Everybody knows I've had cancer already and Graves' disease, so I have osteoporosis, and it's kind of like crazy. I go, really? And you can only take medication for so many years, and that is unfortunate. So it's almost like setting up dominoes on the floor and then hitting them. Once we start with finding ways, it just Parkinson's. They just found the trigger for Parkinson's. I mean, come on. It's just one thing after another. No, I can't go all night long, but it was shown to me like dominoes on the floor, and the kid at the end goes click, and they just one after another. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. Alien disclosure. It was a few months back, and all of a sudden I saw on TV the aliens. Now, I am alive when I was seeing it, so it must be within the next 10 years for sure. I
Mhm.
think it could be sooner, but I don't think it's in the Americas. I think it's going to be, well, the Americas, USA. I think it's going to be somewhere else, and people go, oh, it can't possibly be that. Can't possibly be real. And they are taller and not short gray. They're bigger people. And so the the alien I see is a little taller, not short, not like what was that movie? Close Encounters at the fifth time. They were short people. These people look bigger, maybe like even bigger than the adult that we saw go down the ramp for
Hmm.
Richard Driverson. But that was a very slim, and it's not like that. These look bigger. And I'm not going to say it's the one that everybody saw in Mexico because I just see it somewhere else.
I
And
would
I do
think
feel it.
if it's going to happen, it'll probably be Brazil because when you go back on all the sightings over the years, the
Okay.
majority of them were in like like Brazil and South American country down there. So
You know,
that's
they're
probably
maybe more open to us. Look how open we were 10,000 years ago to the aliens. All around the
right.
world, Ancient Aliens is one of my favorite shows of all time, travel station history,
Right.
science, that's all I watch. And how all the countries have these same figurines carved in the mountains and walls and
Right.
pottery, same thing. And you and I talked once, and then I talked to somebody else, and I had a feeling like they can't come to the United States. We're so savage here. They're going to go to a country where
Right.
they're more accepted. And the other
Right.
country I do see is maybe Japan. I felt like there would be some action, like in the skies or something. Like, okay, that's too big. I don't know if it's Japan, but I saw the word Japan also.
Hmm.
Like wherever this is, there's also going to be a sighting in the sky. And I remember seeing. I'm also watching UFO sites. I love it. And there was a fella, I don't know what country it was. Clearly, they weren't speaking English. And there was a rectangle, just like a pyramid, floating in the sky. And then on another video from another country, the same thing showed up.
Hmm.
And it's just amazing to me. Do you see a correlation there? Oh, really? Can't we not see it matches the ones we have in Egypt? So something's happening. It's building up. Almost like they want us to start thinking that we're not the only ones, because I feel like once they are seen and once everybody gets it, what are we fighting for?
Hmm.
You know what? We're all peace, all the same, and it's just heartbreaking to me to think that we're fighting over religion.
Now, when you talk about these medical breakthroughs,
Hmm.
do you think it's going to coincide with this alien thing?
I don't know if it's been. I feel like we're going to have time, not necessarily this year. Remember everything I say. I read so far in the future. People say, "My
Right.
God, it was 15 years, 20 years ago." I get people calling me 20, 25, and 30 years. I found the
Hmm.
cassette tape all those years ago, and I got to call you again. It puts a lot of pressure on me because I don't like being that right, because I like to
Hmm.
think that I can be wrong, and hopefully I am. Um, the thing is, I see a lot of medical happening first. So it
Okay.
might be a little further out there. It's almost like everybody's going to say, "Oh my God, I can't believe all the things that's being done for medical." And then it's
Mhm.
on the heels of that that I see more alien intervention type of
Okay.
things. Now,
Okay.
are they over here and they have talked to our governments
Hmm.
behind the scenes? I mean, why not?
Hmm.
Why not? Um, so the incident that I had where I saw a real tall one, and I joke everybody. At first, I thought it was a dream, but it was so clear I can still see it. And I looked at this individual that looked like an adult ant, really kind of in and out of the body like this, like that. And he had a suit on that was fluorescent blue and pinkish fluorescent. And I looked at him, I said, "Oh, you're so beautiful." And he looked at me thinking, "What did she say?" And then he went to tell me, he says, "We want to be on the dirt." And I talked to Shar about this. I says, "Well, what in the world do you think that is about? If they're in space and they land on the dirt and they want to be in the dirt, well, there was a UFO that landed with taller, bigger people in the middle of the desert. So was this Turkey or somewhere over there where these kids were taking pictures of the aliens getting out and looking at the dirt?" So the alien said to me, "We want to be on the dirt." And then Shar said to me, "What makes us think that they're in the sky? Are they living in the ground?" Well, that made me think of the fella that was enlarging his basement, went through the ceiling,
Right.
and underneath were 20 stories of living quarters for 20,000 years ago. I don't know. Shar, do you remember what country that was that he discovered these
I don't
shafts
remember.
that could fill?
I,
Yeah, like
I remember
12
that.
to 15,000 people lived at one time in this catacomb. Well, we got to think through, were they human beings or were they the people I talked to? I mean, I don't know. I do think it's very exciting. Can't wait. I hope it's in my lifetime. I saw a lot of good things happening with solar. That just saw a clip on the other night of planes that would be done with solar. I'm not sure because Shar and I talked about it once. There was a clip of a so Facebook of a woman had trouble with her solar car, so she took it in and had hundreds of dollars, $900 worth of labor, but $27,000 for the battery for solar. I think it had to be a joke. But one thing that people aren't aware of is they're terribly heavy. And you think of a plane in the air flying, if they're a third of the weight of a car, and then you add that to a car, that's really heavy. So I think there's going to be other ways to generate continual electric. And at one time, I saw a car, all the top that could be hit by the sun, being just, there's out now flexible solar panels. And I
Hmm.
saw on there almost like not a paint, but a fabric that could cover a car. And I think they're going to devise something where it covers airplanes. And then you think, well, what happens if it's cloudy? Well, they have to have a backup system. How does that work? I don't know. But my daughter has one of those cars that's electric and gas. So why not have a plane half and half? I don't know.
Hmm.
But I saw a plane in my mind and it was dark in color, not white. And it was dark in color because it was covered with something, like the wings and everything. And at first I thought, oh, maybe it's military, it's painted green. Well, then I thought it looks like fabric, it's heavy. So I think we're going toward utilizing. And so maybe they're only used in areas where it's always, or 90% of the time. I don't know about Texas because I got clients there that said it's raining a lot. But I think they're going to devise ways to make it happen. Um, I just see a lot of solar being developed.
But
One time,
planes can fly up over bad weather too. So I mean,
that's right.
I
That's
don't
right.
see a problem with it. I mean, they could be hitting a storm and then just fly way above it. Then they're charging their solar panels and then down. And the other thing I thought of when you were ah, talking about that was the space shuttles, because the space shuttles, those weren't solar panels on there, but they did have those those
oh,
protective tiles were dark in color that they put on the
oh,
front of the space shuttles.
oh.
So
What
maybe
I
that'll lead to some kind of solar technology. I don't think those were solar; they're just the heat shield for the
well,
shuttles.
solar.
Maybe
When I
that's the
think,
technology.
well, when you think of solar for vehicles, because I watch vehicles being with solar being put on, they are dark in color.
Yeah.
And I have portable solar for my batteries too, and they're
So I
dark.
think that's where a lot of that technology came from, was those heat shields for the space shuttle, because they're able to figure out easier ways to attach them.
You're right, but you have to think about wintertime. I don't know about your neighborhood, everybody. I'm at Oroville, California, and it got dark around 3:30 today
Well,
because
yeah,
of the
that
big
they would,
storm coming
the
in.
majority of these planes would be flying. They would be, and they probably would have electric, like they have for cars now, electric
Uh-huh.
charging stations for them, and then they would also have the solar thing that they would use when they're flying up and over the weather.
I just feel like within a couple of years, we're really making progress.
Yeah.
Um, and everybody says, well, do you know how much cost it is to create that battery and how much
Hmm.
debris? And I heard that. I heard that. Well, how about the windmill system? How much does it cost to build a windmill? We could have lots of electricity if we don't do that. I mean, there are some legitimate, but like I said, I'm very interested in tech. Next lifetime, I'm going to be a tech person for sure. Um, and it just really fascinates me. Maybe that's why I like watching it.
Hmm.
Anything to do with tech shows. But I saw a lot with solar, and it made me really excited to think we're going to have more solar. One time, about 10, 15 years ago, I was looking at a house across the street, and all of a sudden I had a flash of someone, in the house we have the blinds that we pull down.
Right.
Well,
Oh
the
yeah.
blinds were for outside of the house, and you pull them down, and they were solar. And I haven't seen that invented yet. Everybody, I'm giving you an idea just to run with it. And you would pull the blind down like in the summertime, uh, and give you shade, but on the other side would be a collector for solar. I love that. I love that. And I
Right.
thought, well, how come I haven't seen that yet? Well,
Right.
it's not time. It's not time. I also see the development of paint being iridescent type of thing. So it would collect light and then you'd
Hmm.
paint it like we do for lampposts and everything. We're going to have new paints developed too. It's going to be more hardy and iridescent and collect more light during the day. So at night you don't have to have the light. We have these light posts on the street, gives
Hmm.
us light, and some of them are solar. Well, we're going to see more of that. I just so with that, the batteries will be also reduced in size. They're going to
Right.
create new ways of doing that. And I didn't say they were going to be uh, well, let's just say collectors.
Hmm.
So anyway, just hold on a minute. I think I need to look at something else here.
Well, even on the boat we used to have, the smaller boat, even the bigger boat, we always there were always, even my RV, there were always two batteries on board. One was the main
Oh,
battery you used, and the other one you were plugged in to charge it all the time as the car was
okay.
as the thing was running. And I was hoping, in fact, I had solar panels, so I was hoping to hook solar panels up to that as well. But yeah, a lot of our RVs already have that technology.
Actually, yes, yes. There was another. I started two folders. The alien disclosure. I wanted to be real careful about this. I do believe that the aliens are going to come before we're hit with meteors, and I do feel like one of the things that they're making sure um, that doesn't happen is I do feel like we have the threat of meteors in the future. Um, and I just want to gently say that. Um, Unfortunately, when someone was talking about the end of the world one time, I was seeing a show on science, and I did see the threat of a larger meteor hitting us way in the future. Remember, I can read out hundreds of years, but
Right.
the aliens may show up before that happens to help us get rid of it. That's just, I just wanted to mention that. And I think that's one of the reasons. Now, why would they protect us? I feel like they're hoping that we become civilized, not so much wars or infrastructure issues that are going all the time. Because I think they want us to be what we call a stopover. Like you want to take a flight, and I'm going to, if I go to Florida, I would stop in Texas and go to Florida.
Hmm.
I think they would like us to be one of those stations where they have a platform in the space and
Hmm.
other people would come. And we're going to be seeing more of that. We have so many options for different kinds of aliens, but they think of us as very primitive. They can't be part of our world yet.
Excuse
So I
me.
do see that happening, and I feel like we do have to work on um, getting rid of asteroid if it comes to us.
Hmm.
And so I wrote that down very carefully. I don't want to scare people, but it's far enough. I don't think it'll be my lifetime for sure, but I want to say before 100 years. And kind of people say, well, Nancy, you're not going to be around, neither are we. You could predict all night long, but I won't say something I'm not picking up because I did feel it would be a big one if we're not careful. We have to get rid of that. Another thing that really interests me, okay, I mentioned that, is um, I'm acquaintance with Professor Gary Swartz. He
Hmm.
and some really good people are developing a soul phone development. I think there's inroads coming this next year, 6 to 8 months out, whether they can market it to quickly make it so we can all use it. I was talking to him some years back, and I said, "You will develop this. You will have backing, and they are doing this." I saw eventually that people who are in the business or wanting help will be able to access spirit kind for help by just something they click on their belt like a phone. And it's so far out. I can't imagine. It's going to be my lifetime. I would love it. It put me out of business. I love talking spirit people, but I'm not a technician to be able to say to somebody, by the way, I would like to invent something. Would you come into my house and show me how something is done? Because most of the people prior to us haven't had the knowledge. But in the future, I think that some of our geniuses that have to leave soon, we could
Yeah.
tap into that. There's a lot of unhappiness because of grief. Every family in America is hit with grief all the time. And I think for emotional stability for our peoples, it would be wonderful to be able to touch base with them. I've already told you, the audience, that my father got killed when I was 6. And it's so many years that I've forgotten what he looked like. I can look at pictures all day, but I only have a couple memories because he didn't work in town, it was somewhere else. And I think that would be wonderful to be able to touch base, and we're all the same. And people have lost children. I think that would really help us out. Okay. Shar, did you have something? Is
No,
anybody in the room asking questions?
nah.
Oh, hi,
I'm just
Michelle. That's you. Hello,
looking at
sweetie.
Michelle's comments.
Fantasy predictions. I hope on the health and the solar technology. You're right. Yeah. Oh, California Green. I've heard of that. Hugh Hausner. He visited GIF's. Oh, wait a minute. Wait,
California
what was
Gold
that?
guy.
Who powered the whole plant on methane gas from processed onion waste. I'm allergic to onions. When you talk about onions, I go, really? I
You
love
know
it.
what they say? You know what they say about cows?
Actually, this is really
Yeah,
funny. I talked to a lady the other day, and I said, you know, a big contributor to our our air conditions that we do are from cattle and horses and buffalo. And the person laughed at me. Oh no, you're so wrong. Oh no, I'm not.
no, because they've done
Anybody?
studies on cows.
Yeah. So I kind of think we're going to get away from eating a lot of the beef. We're going to anyway. They're going to grow it. They're going to do other things, and I think that will really help. But I know a lot of men, and my husband's one of them. Give him a big steak, he's real happy. You know, it doesn't matter to me.
I just had a
Um,
vision. I just had a vision of like cow power, right? You got like little windows in your house, right?
yeah.
And these collector machines for the power, but you back the cow into the window.
Oh my gosh.
You see what I'm saying? And so all day long the cow just eats and farts
Yeah,
through the window and it's farting into these big old
that's a
receptacle
good
things.
cartoon, honey.
And there's your natural gas to heat you and air condition you and everything. That'd be a great cartoon.
Oh, and Michelle, thank you for this comment. They have found that the trigger for Parkinson, that the little whatever. It was the efforts of Michael J. Fox that was able to have that happen because he's campaigned millions and millions and millions of dollars toward the study
Yes.
of Parkinson's. I just had a friend pass away maybe a year ago from Parkinson's, and it's very it's a terrible. I mean, all these diseases are terrible. I have cancer and stroke in my family, so that's also terrible. They just found something else. Michelle, you seem to be on the computer. Maybe you can help us.
Alzheimer's.
The
They're making a lot of strides with
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's. And it's frustrating because had my mother been able to make it another
Yeah.
6 or 7 years, they probably would have found a way to put her mind right again. But that's just the way it is.
Oh, I think this is an interesting comment. Thank you, Michelle. You're sweet to put it in there. Some
You're
people
right.
say of quantum physics that we are the aliens. Well, you know, they think Mars had water and they had everything and it just drifted off the planet. Maybe they don't have the core as strong as ours. My theory is, and I saw this on one of the science shows, that we were hit with a very large, small planet, not a meteor, and the core of that became part of our core, and we
Yeah.
have a much larger magnetic field because we have two iron cores going.
Mhm.
And they say, well, the moon doesn't have much of a core. I think that's
Yeah.
probably it. So the people on Mars might have come here
I
somewhere.
did have someone on a few months ago that talked about our DNA and how we all have alien DNA.
Yeah. Well, I've had a couple of people tell me they think that the aliens have tweaked me a few times. They don't think I'm normal. I go, well, that's probably true. I'm not going to argue. And Marissa, hello, happy New Year, kid. Um, okay, if I missed another note in there, thank you, thank you, kids. I you would have to grow the onions to use them for fuel, but I do
Sure.
feel like there's other ways we're going to figure out. Like maybe 30 years ago, a gentleman living on American River Drive. So whoever listens, you'll know I'm talking about you. Please touch base with me. I saw the future where people had a core like a small town, a
Hmm.
spoke of a wheel that we would gravitate, making small communities all across the United States and the world, where we would generate solar, or we would generate the company, the businesses all around. I thought it was odd visual for that, but I could almost see that happening now because we will work with each other and
Hmm.
not necessarily depend on the biggest businesses in the nation for everything. And I kind of wonder if we're not going to grow our own products and use them on our own, or does it come on the heels of us evolving where, as everybody knows, Japan in 50 years may not survive the
Right.
the the, the number of people being born is small, much smaller than the number of people that are passing away normally. And so we're seeing that in other countries. I'm not sure if it's Germany or France, but there's a couple of countries around the world. If you start checking, you're going to see that people are not wanting to have more children. China is one of them.
Hmm.
They did cut back, but the young people coming up in Japan, they're saying, we want quality of life. We don't want to just be breeding. And so now they're coming up with incentives. And someone in the room, look it up. New comment. Um, it could be even Russia too. Whoops. Uh, Jerry, RH negative blood isn't from Earth. I'm going to agree. I'm AB negative RH factor, and so is my mother, and she's the American Indian side of the family. So I kind of wondered. I'm also have some of that Jewish blood, the Anasazi. I mean, was that Mediterranean group of people that they think
Hmm.
Christ had something to do with? I'm Jewish. Have that Jewish line in my family tree, but I'm also having the American Indian.
Hmm.
Um, so my mother had this AB negative RH factor, and everybody
Hmm.
goes, "Oh, Nancy, you're an alien." I go, "If I am, I am. Who cares? Any one of my children are. Thank goodness they're bees." So there are some more particularity health issues for people like myself. When I
Hmm.
gave blood for a few years, it wasn't blood. The only thing I was able to give was plasma. Oh, I don't understand that either. So, so kids in the room, Marissa, Michelle, Jerry, you have any other questions for me? Did we hit Char?
Keep
Do you have any
going.
more questions? Keep
Keep
going.
going. Keep going. Keep going. It's
Well,
fascinating. Future things are fascinating.
what's that?
The future is fascinating.
It is fascinating, and I'm trying to look
What do you
see.
see? Do you still see the U.S. looking like it looks now? I mean, with all the forests and all that, or is that going to disappear because because we're
Oh
using
no,
up
no,
our
I see people planning. I see it going. We're going to
okay?
have more forest. The trick is not to have it burned down. And
Right.
so I think they're going to have better ways of growing the forestry.
Or
Um,
overuse our resources. You know,
right. And I don't
because
get that at all.
what they need to do, and I know it takes years for trees to grow. So what they need to do, and I hate to say this, Monsanto out in Davis, right? Let's talk about Monsanto. They
What's
need to
that?
come up with like Monsanto in Davis, right? They're growing like
Oh,
like yeah, or DQ University in Davis with the 3 foot carrots, right? So they need to come up with seeds for like pine trees that grow faster than what they do now.
any kind of vegetation,
Yeah,
really.
any kind of vegetation to make it grow faster. And I think
But there's
that's
other
what they're
things that
working on.
grow very fast, and we
I don't
we
know.
need to think.
I've never been to DQ University, but I always make a joke every time I get a carrot that's like this big, and that white around. I think, well, if it came from DQ, it had to. So yeah.
Um, there's some ways we're going to help the economy, but also our atmosphere. I know
Hmm.
everybody has seen that COVID has changed how we work.
Yes.
And before COVID was over, I was telling people that I had such a feeling of a surge of people working out of their homes. And we're now seeing, and I know most people listening to this are other places, but San Francisco, it's emptying out the real estate. People are
Hmm.
not working in town anymore. I have a client whose partner is a real estate person in New York, and the buildings are emptying out. Guess what? People are moving in from the East Coast and they're moving in from the West Coast.
Excuse me.
And I see a lot of that happening. And that's going to also help smog issues. People are not going to work out in the forest.
Right.
With that, we're going to have to take care of mental health because I feel like we're going to start seeing so much of that. And that's why these games are being developed. The one with the little mask and you can hit things in the air.
That's
We're going to
cool. I
have
love
to
those.
create other things to help people be emotionally stable and exercise in their homes. And that's why
Right.
Peloton, my son was telling me that he was looking at something. It's kind of like a mirror you put on the wall and somebody shows up on it and you do exercises against that. We're going to develop more and more of that. And it's kind of like, and I'm all for it. I have a treadmill, elliptical, weights, and all that kind of stuff in my house because I work from home. And and I think that we're going to see more migration with that. I'm
Hmm.
also seeing multiple family homes, and this came out a while back where you have the center kitchen dining room, but you have two families sharing that hub. So I see a lot of that, and part of those, and we saw this once before, the malls that are being emptied out, made into apartments. I see a lot of that. Someone said to me, "Oh, someone just did that with um, a HUD homes, HUD homes for the seniors." I think that's an absolutely wonderful idea.
Yeah, they're doing
For
that.
the,
There's a
I
couple
think you
places
told me
back east. There's a couple places back east where they have done that for Alzheimer's people,
that's
and
right.
it's
You mentioned
wonderful
that.
because they can live normal lives. They can even go shopping
I see a
and
lot
stuff.
more of that. We're going to get, and you'll see strip malls or
Hmm.
bigger malls. Sunrise Malls near me, not near me, but it's 2 hours away. And what they call the anchor business is gone. We're going to
Hmm.
see a lot of those anchor stores because
Hmm.
of the thievery, maintenance. People don't want to work out of their houses. They want to work home. We're not going to have salespeople. They're all going online. They may have
Hmm.
a smaller store with everything on the walls, and you can go in and look at it. And it's
But
going to be
when you
presentations
talk
of it. You
about
want
VR, when you talk about VR, that all
VR, that's what it
started
was.
with the
Thank you.
Nintendo Wii because I have a Wii. I'm gonna say it, I'm old. I have a Wii. I'm really outdated, but
WI.
I also have tennis on the Wii.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
you
We got
physically
it.
have to play the tennis game. In fact, I've had rackets go flying down my hallway because I lost my grip. But but
You're
yeah,
gripping. I have it set up too, and we've recently moved, and I have to put it together. But we're going to see a lot more of
yeah,
that happening in the shopping malls, the big strip malls. I think they're going to be converted to homes.
yeah.
We're just going to change everything. Um,
Well, just
with that
recently,
thought,
with this
pardon
plan to
me.
build the new Coliseum in Oakland, which never happened, that was supposed to be part of the deal. That he was going to build a community around the stadium, in and around the stadium park itself. So it would be like one of
When was
those.
this going to be done? Newsom
Well,
said.
before that guy backed out of Oakland, to go to Vegas, the
Oh,
original
oh,
plan was that he was going to include in that 34 acres housing, like you're
no,
talking
it was
about.
too expensive. I,
Yeah, they didn't do it. That's why it blew it
I
out.
didn't.
That's why it blew it out.
Yeah.
Jerry
He
has
went
a
somewhere else.
question. Jerry wants to know if the economy is going to get better or worse. Do you think?
Um, I have somebody in the stock market, and he
Mm.
was thinking there would be a 800 point drops. I'm not getting that. I see a
Right.
washback up and down, up and down. And I feel like spring to early summer, we're going to see an increase, betterment. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you see economy getting better? I see it getting okay. We're going to grow very, very slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I was talking to somebody, and they said, "Oh, their mortgage is 2%."
Right.
They have every incentive wanting to stay, so people are staying. At In my world, after my first marriage, I got divorced. My first house was at an interest rate of 13.75%. You kids are all spoiled. You're spoiled. We have had worse.
Yeah.
Very tough times to start your own business in 1990.
Oh, I
I
remember
did.
buying a car, my first car that I
Uh-huh.
bought, my Chrysler Laser. I mean, I remember what the interest rate was on that. I mean, it was high back in those days. Marisa has another question, and
I
you see
wanted
it.
to finish up. I
Oh,
wanted to
sorry. Go ahead.
finish up.
Go ahead.
No, no. Marissa, oh gosh, let me get to her. Do you see medical advances in weight loss medications? Yes, I do. And I think we're seeing the beginning of it. They're going to pull one of these back because they're going to find something really wrong. I can't tell you which one. It's a shot, one of those shot things. I think it was on TV. Might have had some blue color on it. There's something that's going to be wrong. And I think I heard about a man saying that his stomach became frozen. But I'm actually seeing a pill, and I think there's going to be some new advancements in weight loss. I really feel like there's a big change, but I don't know if it's this year. I think they're going to be working on it in 6 months because they are seeing a bigger need for it. Um, and it's just a white pill. And I also saw some advances for MS too. About 6, 7 years ago, I had a gal call me up. She was in the early stages of MS, and I also saw that was going to help. Something was going to help. But the thing is, most people won't realize is they're inventing something for one condition here, and
Mm-hmm.
inadvertently, it's going to be helping something else over here. And I see a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that. What is it? Was it Parkinson's? A discovery one thing was helping Parkinson's. Which two conditions were handshake. Do you remember, Shar? It was just recently said on TV.
Yeah, I don't remember Parkinson's. I know there's another one because we thought my mom might have that other one, and not Parkinson's for a while there.
I think they've also discovered something for it. Might be Alzheimer's. I'm thinking of like something really simple helps something else.
Yeah. Well, just
Did
like
you hear?
gabapentin, and it never worked. It would never work for me for that. But gabapentin is supposed to be for people that are epileptics, but it also supposedly helps for certain kind of nerve damage. Like if you have nerve damage in your leg, but it never worked for me. But I'm just saying that's the secondary use for it.
I think I'm trying to remember. I think one of these. Everybody, correct me. I don't mind being wrong, but I read so much that I'm always reading, so I read a lot and then I forget where I saw it. I think it's one of the diet things that may help Alzheimer's. Was it?
Yeah.
There's
I read
kind
that
of like
somewhere. Yeah. It's something like that. It's one of those
that's
things,
what I was trying to think of earlier. It's almost like and then it's going to snowball like that.
Yeah.
And I think my son has 2 kids. One of them about ready to leave high school. That generation's going to benefit from all of this. And the youngest one is 15. I see her at a birthday party when she's 110, and she's just like us sitting here. Like these next generations are going to live much, much longer because of all this, maybe up to 130. And that's only like 2 generations behind Shar and I. I'm the grandmother.
I want to live to be 130.
They will have that opportunity to live that much longer because we're fixing so many things.
Right. Absolutely.
Something to do with ulcers. They're going to be coming out with something.
Oh, that would be nice.
Any in the chat room, look it up. Ulcer treatment may help something else. And I think it's a cancer ulcer kind of combination type of thing.
Right.
So I wanted to talk about that.
Go ahead.
Okay, we're ending up, but I wanted to talk about real quick homelessness and the senior population. Because we're going to have so many people coming home, I do feel a need for people who want to work will have opportunities. Like we're taking one job away, but we're going to have others because we're going to house people in the malls and all. It's going to open up new opportunities for the building trades, the electricians. It's going to like feed one section where jobs are taken away. And I know someone's thinking AI because I'm picking up, well, what about the I didn't go further with that. I didn't because I really don't see the problem everybody does, like AI taking over. We're going to put really big controls on that. I think AI is going to help us ultimately more than you realize. Right now, I'm not me because I don't have a teaching credential, but you can live here in the United States and teach kids to do ever. In Australia, I mean, it's not going to be much different. I have people I know that teach in other countries. They stay home. Everything's going to be geared to this. So the next big push is to keep people emotionally healthy and happy in their homes because this is the big push I see.
Well, I think COVID taught people a lot of lessons, especially our politicals. I mean, like here in California, when they took, the hotels and converted them into spaces for the homeless.
Yes.
That started the ball rolling. And when you talk about the environment and going green, what happened during COVID that was so important? Because there weren't these emissions. People weren't out walking around.
Right.
All the rivers cleared up.
I know it, right?
Everything got clean.
I remember that article. Where was that when they said the water was so clean you could? Was that in Europe in the canals? I think it was Venice. I think it was in Venice. Yeah.
So this is something they learned. So I mean, this is why the big push for green, just like this living wage. Is a living wage or whatever they call it. They've tested it now in Stockton. It's been tested in Sacramento. It's been tested in San Francisco. Give a person a guaranteed $1,000 to $1,500.
That's what it was, $1,000.
Yeah,
I don't know more about it.
But the idea behind it is that if they want to work, they can work.
Mm-hmm. Why would they if they get $1,000?
Well, yeah, it just depends on how much your electricity and stuff is, though. I'm just saying, if you want to work to make some extra bucks, so that you can get other stuff or whatever you want, you're able to do that. But that's going to change a lot.
The incentive has to be there.
And this isn't the only country that they're doing it. They're already doing it in Scotland. Scotland has that already. It's already being done.
Hmm.
It's not like it's something new.
Yes, I have a client in Scotland, and they're helping her um, with they did with her with her finances when her husband died. So I don't know that it was $1,000, but what we're seeing is jobs being taken
Yeah, by
away
AI.
from the
AI.
populace, and they have to figure out other ways for people. And that's when I said there seems to be a push with, and I'm looking at places being repurposed,
Right.
and I've been seeing it a long time, and I'm thinking, and then all of a sudden you said one day, well, they're doing it for Alzheimer's, and I remember a news clip on the
Right.
news in Sweden or somewhere where
Yes.
they built a village, and people
Hmm.
like 1950s and 60s when they were younger, all of a sudden they can shop and do everything. I think
Well,
you
that's
told
the
me this
thing, and they
week.
also have. They finally built a couple over here now, like in Illinois. They have them, and it's wonderful because I remember that's the thing my mom loved. My mom loved to go shopping,
Yes.
and when Target came up with those carts, Target came up with these wonderful carts where if you had an elderly person with you, you'd sit them on the cart just like when you had kids,
Oh my goodness.
and you could push them on the cart. There's a cart that they could shop, and you could shop with them. So
Uh-huh.
my mom
Uh-huh.
loved it. We go to Target all the time, go shopping. She loved that stuff.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
to be able to give them that freedom to do stuff, and I think it's very important to do that, even though they have Alzheimer's and they're not all there. Giving them something like that to do where, okay, here's $20. You go to the store now. Let's go shopping. Let's go to the post office. Let's get stamps. Let's do this.
Hmm.
And it's all enclosed. And not only that, it's like a Disney thing. this guy, geez, the sky above is timed to the regular day hours.
Uh-huh.
So when evening hits, the sun will set, and they can sit out front or sit out at their little park, watch the sunset. And
Uh-huh.
so they go through all that. Christmas, they put the lights out, they do all that stuff for them. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
Funny you
And
mentioned that because that's what I thought of. Las Vegas.
yeah,
There's a couple of places in there. I'm a I I love eye candy and tourism, and
I
I
do
think
too.
it was is it Italy in the walkways, and you look up and the sky changes color, the
Hmm.
whatever. I
Yes,
think that's
yeah.
fabulous,
Oh, I
fabulous.
love that stuff.
I do
See,
too. And
see, I'm a Disney girl. You're a Vegas girl. It's all good. Same
well, I
difference,
don't
same
gamble,
effects.
and I haven't been in Vegas in since
I'm just saying.
2000.
I'm just saying. Same type of
Same
effects.
eye candy stuff. Yeah.
Only
Hmm.
one for adults, one for people like me.
I did want to mention one thing. I think the big hoo-ha in Florida of
Mhm.
double taxing Disney, they're going to move some of this stuff, and I
Yeah.
think they're going to expand in a different state. And I don't know if it's Georgia or Tennessee, but it feels like it's north in another direction. And they're
Yeah.
very smart. They're going to pick a state where the economy would benefit. Uh, I'm not going to say they're taking over and the miners don't have jobs anymore. They'll be the ones build it, but they're going to
Mhm.
pick an area that's going to benefit the whole economy
Yeah.
and not be under the threat of whatever happened. I can hear behind the scenes people talking. How are we going to do this? Let's look. And they've been in motion with that. So when I think of Disney World, someplace I'd like to go, just to look, as you said, look at the pretty things.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm very techy. It'd be the
Well,
first thing I
I
want to do is
think when
Epcot.
all this went down with that, because they were going to move a lot of tech jobs into Florida, but then everybody they stayed in California, so they're keeping this
Yeah.
stuff in. I think they're keeping this stuff in California for now. To stay out of
I
Florida.
see parts of that Disney World not there. I don't know what that
Yeah.
means. It's almost like I don't know what it
Yeah.
means, but I see blank spots where there was things. So I think they're
Yeah.
going to develop one or two of them. They're going to move. One of the
Yeah.
things they're going to develop somewhere else is a is something I'm interested in is the tech thing. Like they're going to
Mhm.
do the space program, or they're going to do outer space, or they're going to do flying something or other. It feels really
That would be cool.
new and inventive,
That would be
whatever they
cool.
built
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
But
That would
I
definitely be
haven't
cool.
been to Disney World, but I would be one of the things I would want to do is look at Eptalk and all the other things. So I
Well,
don't
I'm
know if
like
I'm
you. I
looking
mean,
at
I go
that.
to Disneyland, and I love the stories. I love the magic, but I
Yeah.
love that tech magic, and that's my thing.
Yes. Yes.
I learned how to make fire. I learned how to make fire in my backyard for Halloween because of Disney. My mother, being as yeah, being as artsy as she was, we would ride the Pirates of the Caribbean 6, 7 times.
Oh my
just
gosh.
just so she could see how they made the burning log embers.
Hmm.
And then we get done, and she'd take notes,
Oh
and
my
then we jump on to
goodness.
make this stuff. Yeah,
No wonder I liked your mom.
yeah.
I
My mom
really
always did that
miss your
stuff.
mom. I know you
Yeah,
do, but I
all the
really
rides that
liked
we
her.
were interested in, whether it was a haunted mansion or Pirates of the Caribbean to do those different effects. She was all about going on the ride 6 or 7 times, going, "Okay, I can see how they did that." She'd write it
I
down.
think that's amazing. But wherever they go next, they're going to do more of that new stuff, and I think it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah,
Maybe I get to visit, and that's why I can see it so clearly.
yeah. I hope
But
so.
that's
I
it.
hope so.
Yeah. Okay. I did my
You
list.
did good. Okay, good. What I'm mad, what I'm upset about is I'm a big Peter Pan person. Well, you can
Okay.
tell I like to be eternally young, the way I think. And I guess they were supposed to, the plans were out. That part of California, that part of Disney, the Disney stores and everything that are outside the park, I forget what they call it, here in California. They're supposed to build
uh,
the whole Peter Pan pavilion out there at some point. And
I don't
I'll
know.
probably,
I don't know
I'll
anything
probably,
about it.
yeah, I'll probably be in my 80s, and that irks me. Do it sooner so I can enjoy it without having this like slobber down the front of myself.
Is it part of the area that was for Harry Potter, where Harry Potter's been
That's
built up?
Universal. That's Universal.
Is it part of Universal that you're thinking?
No, no, this is Disney.
Okay.
What is it called? You got California Adventure on the other side. You got Disneyland, and then
Okay.
downtown Disney. There's room in downtown Disney for them to build because they bought
Okay.
extra land. So they're going to
Okay.
be adding on, when they add on new sections of the parks. It's going to be downtown Disney sections that they're going to put it in.
Okay. That sounds good.
But I'll be too old to enjoy it.
Oh, no, no,
Of
no.
course, if I die, I can go anyway. So who cares? But
That's
yeah,
right. That's right. That's the way to think too.
no fuss, no
I
muss,
probably
right?
would. I like to do everything. There's a Japanese Disney World. There's one in
Oh my God,
Paris, Disney
they
World.
say the ocean part of that. There's an ocean world there, and
Oh,
all
well, that
people
would
do
be
is rave.
very
All they
fun to
do is rave
watch.
about it. They rave about it. The people that go there, and a lot of people like the one in Paris a lot too.
I think that'd be fun to Google it and look at it. All right, kids in the chat room.
Okay,
Anything else for you guys? That's it. All right,
that's
Char, we
it.
did it.
Okay,
I
thank you
hope I
very much.
entertained you
It's
guys.
always
I
fun to
did a
do that.
lot. Hmm?
Tomorrow I'll be reading. So this week again, I'm sick, so I'm trying to take it easy. Tomorrow I will be reading from the creepy Christmas story book until we finish it
Creepy.
off this week, and then we'll start up with something else, and then we'll start putting guests through and all that stuff. Thursday's still open depending how I feel. Cause I get times where I feel really good, and then the next day I'm like, I don't know what this is.
That's very typical of,
Yeah, and
fluctuation.
then Friday, Nancy will be back with us, and next week I think I have a guest book for Monday. I'll have to double check, and we'll start rolling with that. I'll start trying to get looking for guests next
We're
week.
going to have somebody on talking about his dying mother and
Yeah, yeah,
poltergeist activity.
yeah.
So that will be very, very interesting. This is firsthand experience talking about the energies of the dying and
Right,
how
right.
it was creating havoc in the house. I mean, it was crazy.
That's
And I
crazy. Yeah,
says,
that's
really,
crazy.
this happened? Urgh.
And by Friday, I'll have my contacts back in, so that's where you're going to start seeing the bookings. I can't write letters when I can't read them properly. So I got a few people. I got like 4 or 5 people that are backlogged that I have to send schedules to get booked. So booking stuff going. So we'll start rolling with that. I am going to be
Okay.
putting out a wish list because I do want to do more lives. I want to take you guys on the road with me this year. And there's some places in Sacramento area that we can go, and I can go live, but I have to have the correct equipment to do it. So I've got to get a battery for my phone. I'm going to have to get a power pack, and cables and whatnot, and then I'll be pretty well set. So I'm going to put out a wish list out there, see if I can get some help to get this stuff, because I want to bring this stuff to you. That was one of the drawbacks going out on Christmas Eve, was that my battery was low on my phone, so I only had an hour on the phone without staying there extended to really look at stuff with you guys, because
Ooh,
there were
only an
shows.
hour. Wow.
Yeah, there were shows and stuff that that they were doing there, ice skating and all this stuff, and I couldn't do it because I was limited to an hour. So once I get my new battery and get a power pack, then I can extend everything. So that's coming up. So lots going on, and I'm excited. It's great to have Nancy on board. It's good to be doing this and see all you guys in the chat room, and hello Pamela and all that good stuff. And I'm going to
I
shut up
see
because I'm
Pamela's
losing.
came. Yeah.
I'm losing my voice.
Time to call it a night. Do you have a class next?
No,
Do you have a class? No.
no,
Okay.
because my student's sick too. So
I tell you, it's really going wrong. Well, it's a week after Christmas, New Year's, so people are getting sick now.
and I got a
And
fever right now. I can feel it. I can feel the fever right now.
it's not
But at
just the
least,
family. We're running out going to grocery stores because it's storming here for 2 days. So one day, a couple days back, I had to go to the store. So it could have been that,
yeah, it
so
could have
many
been
people
anywhere.
out.
Yeah, so many people out. So it's a cold. I don't think it's the big C. I think it's a cold the way it's acting. So hopefully tonight I'll be able to sleep because the more I sleep, the better I feel. So
Works
hopefully I
that
can
way.
sleep it off a little bit. I do want to do some extras here in the studio because I did get some really cool stuff for Christmas
Hey,
that I want to
Judith.
put together and share with you. In fact, I got two Star Wars Advent calendars, so we can go through and put the characters together, like Rey and and the Kylo
Mhm.
Ren and all those people. So yeah, so we'll be doing that together as well. But anyway, I want to thank you all, and tomorrow I will be here at 6:30 p.m. Pacific reading the creepy book, and and we'll go from there. We'll see how it goes for Thursday. So hopefully I feel better tomorrow. But thank you so much for coming, and if you like the show, see, it took me a minute because I'm slow here. If you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hated the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. Equal opportunity. All right. That being said, I'm going to show you Nancy's contact info, and then I'm going to shut up and let my voice rest. Thank you all for coming, and here we go. Find the right button. Where'd you go? There you go. I don't want to get sick again. It sucks. Okay, websites, nancymatz.com, all lowercase. nancymatzauthor.com, the N, the M, and the A are capped. youtube.com/nancymatzpsychic, the N, the M, and the P is capped. And we've got books. Help Get Me Out of This Funk, Nancy Matz. Two Worlds, Developing Your Psychic Skills. And The Unwilling Sacrifice. And of course, you can get those at Amazon. Alrighty, guys, I will see you tomorrow.
Take
6:30
care.
p.m. Pacific. Take care, everybody. Nancy, you stay well too.
Yes, I'm
Here we
trying.
go. Yeah. All right, bye.
Bye bye.